But pretty sure I'm live. Pretty sure you know who I am by now. Sam Peoples here, live on United People's TV. It's Tuesday morning, and I'm here to bring you all the latest updates on Raphael Varane and a contract offer worth 12 million euros a year. Where are those reports coming from? Are they reliable? What does it mean for Man United signing Raphael Varane? I'll run through and explain all of that for you in this live show this morning, plus updates on Eduardo Camavinga from Fabrizio Romano, Paul Pogba and PSG, Donny van de Beek and Real Madrid, Brandon Williams and Southampton. On the flip side, Danny Ings to Man United. There are so many things and so many stories to run through this morning. So it's going to be quite a long show. But as always, you know the drill throughout the entire show. This is an interactive transfer news show, and I want to get you all involved as much as possible in this. You let me know in the comments, as you always do on YouTube and Facebook, where are you watching this from? I'll try and give you shout outs throughout the stream. If you can please send me your comments and your questions in, and send your super chats in, because there's so many comments that come in here every single day. There's so many questions I do miss. So if you really want to ask me a question, fire in your super chats. But let's head straight to the comments, as we do at the start of every single show, and see where you're watching from. Like Vidash watching from Mauritius, good morning to you. Joel Jordan watching from Trinidad. We've got Kruger watching from Liberia. Good morning to you. We've got Shumbusho watching from Rwanda. Rwanda. Right, there we go. Arthur watching from China. Wicked, mate. Good morning to you. And Abdullah watching from Bangladesh. Kelvin from Singapore. Honestly, I keep saying it every morning, but someone's got to help me get a map and get these pins in a map somehow. I don't know. Is there like a something you can use online? You can do like a virtual map. You can put pins in and save it. I don't know. Stephen watching from Sweden. Good morning to you. Abdullah watching from Senegal. Good morning to you. Mohammed from Malaysia. Laiku from India. Oh, man, we could talk about this all day. But there's so much news to talk about. We've got to head straight to it. Although, we've got man, Abby. Good morning, Abby, to you. Thank you very much for the super chat this morning. Setting the tone with an early super chat. Thank you, Abby. But let's go straight into the news, because there really is plenty to talk about. And I am going to start with speaking about Raphael Varane. As you can see from the thumbnail, that is the main story. And the story coming out of Spain yesterday, Raphael Varane is very close to joining Manchester United. United have offered him a 5-year contract worth 12 million euros per year. Real Madrid could accept 50 million plus add-ons. Varane is closer to leaving than staying at Madrid. Very, very exciting story that came out of Spain last night. And it got tongues wagging. Obviously, it got tongues wagging. What is this story? Is it reliable? Is he really going to be joining United on a 5-year contract? That's what I wanted to explain in this video. Got a little sticker there, I think, from Victorium. Look at that. Very, very nice. Everyone's feeling generous this morning. Must be because we're close to signing Varane. But the first thing to talk about this story, who is Jorge Calabres? He is the director of elbernabeu.com. What is that? If you go over here, elbernabeu.com is a Spanish website. And I'll be honest, I've followed, I'm a trained journalist. I've followed the news for a long time. I've never really come across El Bernabeu. I'm not really sure whether he's massively reliable. But if we're looking at what the report's saying here, and this is where it gets a little bit interesting, offered him a 5-year contract worth 12 million euros per year. Why is that figure important? That figure is important because if you follow thepeoplesperson.com, and of course you follow thepeoplesperson.com for all your latest Manchester United transfer news, and we head back to the 8th of June, Man United to offer Raphael Varane a salary that Real Madrid can't match. And inside this story, which we covered back at the start of June, it said that Varane believes that he, due to his seniority and quality in the squad, he deserves a contract that's going to match David Alaba's when David Alaba does come in. But they're saying that Madrid's maximum offer to him was only 9 million euros. You go down the article a little bit more. They talk about what United are going to offer him to convince him they have a juicy amount prepared. 12 million euros. The exact same figure here that's being said a month later by Jorge Calabres. So in that sense, there's a bit more credence to the story. It's not as if this 12 million euros figure has been plucked out of thin air. This figure has been used as the likely figure that Manchester United are going to be offering Raphael Varane for over a month now. And it's just come back to the surface from Jorge Calabres. As I said, I can't really verify whether or not he is particularly reliable because I haven't really seen his name being used too often over the years. But following on from what he said, let's take a look at what else is being said around it. From Marca yesterday, Marca obviously very close to Real Madrid, so you can't really rule this one out. Manchester United have offered 45 million euros for Rafael Varane, but Real Madrid have asked for 60. It's not entirely clear whether the player is convinced he wants to leave. Following on from that, Jan Eger Fjortoft saying Ari Varane, he's saying there's no bid on the table. So contrasting what Marca are saying. He's saying, but Team Varane have told Real Madrid he wants a new challenge. Actually, I haven't got this on screen, have I? Sorry about that. There we go. I guess Man United are afraid to be used by any player getting a new contract, which could slow the process down. And let's be honest, Matt, that's something that we all do fear. We all still fear that this is just going to be another Sergio Ramos situation. The Rafael Varane is going to sign a bumper new contract at Real Madrid. And I've said this before, and I'll go on record in saying it again. This is just a bit different this year. This isn't the year where Real Madrid can just puff their chest out and give players what they want just to rule other teams out from signing them, because they are in a massive debt situation. Have a look at the situation at Barcelona. They have ballsed up their finances so much that they can't register their new signings. Sergio Aguero, Eric Garcia, they literally can't register them because their salary is like 200,000 a week over. It's a lot over. So they have to sell. Barcelona is a complete and utter mess that's come from spending 100 million on Philippe Coutinho and all the things they've done. And Real Madrid are not in as bad a situation as that, but they're not in the summer where they can just give players what they want to keep them at the club. And that's why United have the advantage. And we can go in with what's 12 million euros a year worth. Let me see if it's down here. There you go. Red Billy, as always, very accurate with the news. You should be heading over to People's Purse and keeping on top of that. So 200 grand a week, roughly. Now, given the fact that David De Gea is on 350 grand a week, that's not an insane amount of money. We've got a super chat here coming in from Victorin. Big up to you, Victorin. Sancho, Varane and Camavinga for 150 million. Wow, that will be a great window. And all main positions that we need improved from last season. You're absolutely spot on there, my friend. It would be a fantastic window. And we've already got Sancho. Right wing was a key position that we massively needed to strengthen, and we've got that done. Varane, it's moving in the right direction. It's continuing to move in the right direction. Whether or not this is actually legitimate, we'll, I suppose, see in the next 24 to 48 hours. Because as we're seeing with this Rafael Varane story, and that's why it's important, I think, that I'm doing these shows every single morning, shit is moving fast. This deal is moving quickly. And it's something I've put in the description. It's not as if we're waiting 2 weeks or for a little snippet of news. Things are developing very, very quickly. And at the moment, you have to say that's a credit to Murto and his team for changing that, for actually making United move faster. And that is such an important thing for United to do. Before I head on to the next point, going to take a quick break here to say, make sure you drop a like on the video if you're watching on YouTube and on Facebook. Make sure you subscribe if you're new in town as well. But where are you watching from? Let's give you all a few shout outs. Such as my main man there. I can't believe I just looked down and spotted that comment. Cruz Campo, indeed. That's wicked. Good morning to you, Alex. Where else are you watching from? We've got David watching from Ireland. We've got, I'm going to say Rajan watching from South Africa. My God, I can't pronounce that place. You're watching South Africa. Just like Julius watching on Facebook from Cape Town. Good morning to you as well. Nawaji, it doesn't matter if you fancy Varane. I don't fancy Varane either, but I actually want him as a United player. We've got Michael O'Neill watching from Dublin. Good morning to you. We've got Mubarak watching from Nigeria. Ooh, Martin watching from Tanzania. All around the world. All around the world. Seriously, though, I keep saying this. Someone help me. Someone tweet me at @SamPeobles_ with a way that I can get all these pins on a map, because I really want to keep on top of them. There's so many. Oh, look at that. Isaac. Big up for the super chat. Thank you very much, Isaac. Watching from Phoenix, Arizona. I haven't visited the USA yet. I was supposed to be doing a road trip around the West Coast last year, but obviously the pandemic happened, so that trip got absolutely kablamoed. I still want to do it, though. But I want to talk about transfer news a bit more. So as I said, look, let's head back to Varane and do a quick roundup here of what I've just said. The main story here is coming out of Jorge Calabres. And as I said, I've followed the news. I've run this thepeoplesperson.com, a Manchester United news website for 7-8 years now. So I know about who's reliable, who's unreliable to a degree. I'm not the man with the tier list, but this man isn't particularly near it. But I had to do it. And the reason I said that it's an interesting that he said 12 million euros was the fact that if you go back to the People's Person here, you see at the start of June, this is exactly the same figure that was being said in reports at the start of June. This isn't a figure that's just been pulled out of thin air. So I wanted to give you a bit more clarity on that. 12 million euros really does seem to be the figure that United are offering him. And let's be honest, it'll be a very fair price for a player of Varane's caliber. But skipping on from what Jan Egger Fjordtoft is saying, let's head over to Lawrence Julian, works for ESPN. He's got more of a reputation. Manchester United are still quite far away from agreeing a fee for Raphael Varane. Varane himself is not completely sure of whether he wants to join United. So there is still a bit of work to be done. And that is absolutely going to be correct from Julian Lawrence, sorry, in the fact that there is still a bit of work to be done, because this isn't going to be as... If you're looking at the Camavinga transfer, I think on paper, the Camavinga transfer is something that can be pretty straightforward and it can happen relatively quickly. You know, Rennes, they've got a player there who's 18, who they know they're going to be losing, who knows that he wants to go and progress his career somewhere else this summer. Simple, because they are going to lose him for free next year. Simple. Therefore, all we have to do is agree on a fee, because it won't be difficult at all to agree on terms with Camavinga. All we have to do is get Solskjaer on the phone and sell the project. And when you've got players like Jadon Sancho coming to Manchester United, that's evidence enough to Camavinga that United right now are on the up. And we are on a better trajectory as a football club than we have been in a long, long time. Finished second last season, obviously lost the Europa League final. That was fucking disappointing and absolutely miserable to watch. But building on that, we've got Sancho coming in. We're in talks to sign Varane as well. Can we bring Camavinga in? Can Pogba stay too? We've already got Bruno in that team. Marcus Rashford is one of the most exciting English forwards there is. Then you've got Greenwood to back him up too. You've got Cavani in there. My God, Camavinga would love to come in there. And as I said, learning from Carrick, said it yesterday, there's not many better midfielders to learn from than Carrick. And I think Carrick will be a very good teacher. But building on from what Julian Lawrence here is saying about the fact that we're still far off, look, I think this one is going to drag out a little bit. I wouldn't say that United are close to signing Varane. I would say at this particular moment in time, from what I'm reading and from the vibes I'm getting from all the different reports, it feels like United... It feels more likely at this moment in time that Varane is going to be leaving Real Madrid and joining United than it is him staying there, because I don't think that Real Madrid are going to come up with the big money that's going to keep Varane at Real Madrid, because he wants to feel like he's the central figure now, and he won't get that. Well, he won't get that in terms of wage rise anyway. Interesting point here from Julian Aronza that was raised. Manchester United and Real Madrid are looking into including Donny van de Beek on loan as part of the deal for Raphael Varane. Now, you let me know in the comments below here. You type yes or type no now. Would you want to see Donny van de Beek going out on loan if it meant that we signed Raphael Varane? I don't think that's probably going to be a clincher as part of the deal. I don't think it's going to be... I don't think it's going to be the deal breaker. I don't think that Varane joining United will depend on it. But given that, you know, Donny van de Beek didn't play much last season, he really didn't have that career acceleration that he wanted to after he joined from Ajax. Do you think it will be a good move for him? Let's head down to the comments and let's see what you're saying. We've got Mohammed here. Big up to you, Mo. How you doing this morning? One of the mods, making sure that you don't spam in these comments, because there's so many people coming in. You need to keep on top of that. I don't want Van de Beek sitting on the bench, he says. You've got Kevin, though, that he doesn't want that to happen. Elvin, you're saying yes. George Fu, you're saying no. Vidash, you're saying no. Let's have a look down here. I'm going to go for... I mean, there are tons of comments, my God. I'd say the majority of you are saying no. The majority of you want Donny van de Beek to stay at Manchester United next season. And I'll be honest, I agree with you. When you're building what Manchester United are building, and we are building towards doing something very, very good, and I think we're in a strongest position that we've been in a long time. You don't go and let players like Donny van de Beek leave, because touch wood, touching all sorts of wood here, we don't know what's going to happen next year. Pogba could stay but get a bad injury. Bruno could stay and get a bad injury, and then you've got a player like Donny van de Beek, and if you've let him go out on loan, you'd be like, why did we let him go out on loan? When we're trying to challenge for the Premier League, the Champions League, the FA Cup, the League Cup. Next year, we need the quality in the depth of our squad. And it was a bit of a flaw of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer last season. and he didn't rotate and players burned out. He did it in both seasons, really. And you just don't, I think, let a player like Donny van de Beek leave on loan. I don't think it would suit. I don't think it would help United. It would help Van de Beek, sure. Wouldn't help United. And that's what we have to do as a club. We have to be selfish as a club. Big up to you, Victorin, for this super chat, my friend. What do I think about the goalkeeping situation? We can't go into the new season with two good keepers, in my opinion. I still think De Gea is a better keeper and should be United's number one. Excellent comment here. Excellent question. I've made my opinions on this whole goalkeeping situation quite clear, I think. But I feel this summer would be the best time for Manchester United to move on from David De Gea. And the reason I say this, and I'm coming from a human perspective when I'm saying this, because it would massively suit United to have De Gea and Henderson on the books. They have two elite level. Well, I don't think Henderson's at the elite level yet, but he's got the ceiling is there. We know he'll get there. It would suit United fantastically to have both on the books. But De Gea has stayed at United for 10 years. He stayed through Ferguson, Van Gaal, Moyes, Mourinho, and Solskjaer. 5 managers. He's stayed through the shit. He's walked through the swamp. And if David De Gea wasn't there, we would have fallen a hell of a lot lower. But Eden, you know, that season where the fax machine stopped him from joining Real Madrid, that was a summer where we all felt we lost David De Gea and we kept him. We were buzzing for it. But Eden, his wife has stuck with him the whole time. They've now just had a baby. And for me, it makes sense on a human perspective. If De Gea wants to leave and go back to Spain, that we let him go back to Spain. I don't think we're going to force him out the door. And if he really does want to stay and challenge, I don't know whether we'll say no to him. But it's a tough situation. And this is why this is a bit of a difference between good managers and great managers, because great managers will handle this situation properly. And it's difficult. I don't know what the right or the wrong answer is here, but if it was my choice, I would let De Gea leave. If he wants to, use that money, invest it in another player, because when it comes to replacing goalkeepers, I get flashbacks of how hard it was when we tried to replace Schmeichel. And we went through a list of crappy goalkeepers like Taibbi, Bosnich, Howard. Barthez was all right, but he was a bit mental. And then we got Van der Sar. And then we went from Van der Sar to David De Gea. We were lucky in that sense. We got the ability here to go from De Gea to Henderson. And I think that is a bit of a privilege. And I think that's a privilege that we have to take advantage of. And I'm really sorry. Oh, no, there it is. Abby, I thought I missed your super chat there. I didn't. Van der Beek on season-long loan would be good for both club and the player. I think it would suit the player. Abby, I don't think it would suit Manchester United. I think we need to keep our best players at the club. That's my own opinion. Let me head down to the comments, though, and see where you're all watching this from. Let's see here. We've got Georgie here with a comment about Varane, saying, I think this resembles the Ramos situation a few years ago. Sorry to say, but Varane will sign a new deal with Madrid and we are just being used. It definitely feels like that, Georgie. But as I said, it's different. Real Madrid are in debt, and they've always been in debt, but things have changed. That's why Real Madrid and Barcelona were so desperate for the Super League. They were the ones pushing for it because their money situations are bad. And he's only got 1 year left on his deal. Zidane's left, the manager who brought Varane. There's a lot of reasons why it could happen. And that's why I think people are still getting excited. But at the moment, we're still staying a bit tentative. There's my Manoil from Bulgaria. How you doing? Good morning to you. We've got Alex Hernandez watching from the States. We've got Kudzai watching from the Czech Republic. How you doing, my friend? We've got Yiga watching from Uganda. Wicked. Uptown watching from Congo. Vibav. Sorry, I've just ruined your name there. You're watching from India. That's the most important part. Suresh watching from Dubai. And Sean Griffin watching from Ireland. Mans watching from Singapore. Royalty King from Ghana. Brightlight watching from Ukraine. Chloe watching from Cape Town in South Africa. Graham from Wirksworth. It's exciting. It's very exciting. Honestly, if you can see how many, I mean, I'm sure you can see how many comments are coming in here. It's absolutely mad. Big up to Victor in for the super chat today. Thank you very much, my friend. He's saying, let's say we get the players we are linked with and we really want to win the title. I think we will need a keeper of David De Gea's quality. Now, I disagree on that sense because if you look at when David De Gea won Player of the Year 3 years in a row, why do you think he won Player of the Year 3 years in a row? Because our defense was absolutely poop. It was like a sieve. If you've got a defense and a midfield that is tight and strong as a unit, you have less reliance on a goalkeeper. The reason that David De Gea shone so much at that point in time was because we needed him to. We needed a shot stopper because we were conceding so many chances. That now is diminishing with Maguire in there, with Shaw in there. If we get Varane in there, we've got Wan-Bissaka there. You've got a much tighter unit. You get defensive midfielder. Maybe Camavinga can be that player. Don't know. I need to speak to somebody who... I was trying to organise an interview today with somebody from Rennes who really knows about Camavinga. I'm going to try and speak to somebody else. If there's anybody you think I should speak to, tweet me at @SamPeoples_. I'll try and hook up some interviews because it's important to get some interviews. Another super chat coming here from the man himself who really is firing them in today. Where is it? It's up there. Don't want to miss that. I don't think he'll be happy to play as a backup goalkeeper, and we can't afford to have him sit on the bench at 375k a week. Now, that is the good point there. You can't afford to have a player of 375 grand a week sitting on your bench. And that's the difficulty here with Manchester United, because you've got a player who is our highest earner. Sorry. Who may now not be our number one goalkeeper. So we put ourselves into a bit of a pickle. I don't know what the situation to resolve this is, but in my opinion, I think Henderson's going to be our number one next year. And I think that's the only reason he signed that contract. And if we go back on that, we lose Henderson. And Henderson, we've got 10 years in front of us. And Henderson is a United Academy player and he wants to play for United. It's hugely important to have those players in your team when you can have them in your team. But moving on from Donny van der Beek, moving on from David De Gea, thank you all for your comments here. It's fun, isn't it? Went on a bit of a divergent path there. But let's go back to the news and let me see what is going on here. From Fabrizio Romano on Twitch. I'll tell you what, Fabrizio Romano is pumping out the content left, right, and centre right now, isn't he, on his new Twitch channel? He's saying that Manchester United are leading the race for Camavinga. So it's going to be between us and PSG. Obviously, that's going to scare a lot of people. Camavinga, he's French. He plays in Liga. Surely he wants to be joining PSG. Cool. That's an option. But Manchester United, do not rule out Manchester United. And importantly here, the man himself, Fabrizio Romano, said the Man United are leading the race. There's a super chat here coming in, so we'll head to that quickly. Nathan Pitt, thank you very much, Nathan. A proper CDM is needed this season. I couldn't believe it when he said Ruben Neves is 24. He looks 35. If he was willing to play CDM, he's a steal. He is a steal. He is 24. He does look 35. Man United don't really seem to be massively interested in him. And for me, it makes no sense whatsoever. But maybe it's because the club can really see something in Camavinga that I can't, because I haven't scouted him extensively. I haven't seen how good a footballer he is by watching all of his games for Rennes this season. And maybe Camavinga, look, he's 18. At 18, your position is not set in stone. So Manchester United's coaching staff might be looking at Camavinga and saying, you know what, Ollie, I know you've got someone like Ndidi that you can see is great in the Premier League, or maybe someone like Neves, but trust us, Camavinga is who you want to sign. Because he, as I showed yesterday by looking at the Tifo video, he's a player who, he's played in all positions. He's played in the double pivot of Rennes this season. He's played on the right of a midfield three. He's played in the central of a midfield three. He's capable of receiving the ball in tight situations, of resisting the press, of breaking the lines. He's kind of got it all. At 18, that's a bit rare, and that's why he made his debut for the French national team. And he was the youngest player since 1914 to do so. He's already got 3 international caps. It's just there's so many goddamn good players in that French team. He can't get into it. Big up here, Victor, as well. Honestly, man, thank you very much for the super chats. Thanks for answering the question, Sam. I agree with your point about Henderson should be our number one, but we need to resolve the keeper situation with Heaton coming back too. Excellent point. We've obviously got Romero's left the squad. Joel Pereira, I think, has just joined the team in the Dutch Eredivisie. Good luck to him. I'm not sure where Romero's going. Maybe he'll go to Everton eventually. Heaton's come back. He's our number 3. Lee Grant, the decorator. I don't know what he does at United, but he's still there and he's not doing much. So Heaton's going to be our number 3, and I don't know what Lee Grant's going to do, be a cheerleader. But we do need to resolve it. And it's down to, as I said, this is a key thing that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has to manage properly. This is his decision, whether or not he keeps, because he cannot next season keep De Gea and Henderson happy. So it's a case of managing his situation. And as I said, if we're looking at what is best for the club in a long term, I think it's obvious that Henderson is the best choice. And in that sense, you have to let De Gea go. But in that sense, who's going to buy him? Madrid won't buy him. Atletico don't need him. Barcelona can't afford him. Where did he go? Sevilla? Don't know. Because if he leaves, he's going back to Spain. There's no way that he's going anywhere else. And big up to you, Abby, for the super chat. Thank you very much. Camavinga is good. Haven't seen much of his tackling or ball retention, and he's not watched that much of Ligue 1. So in terms of his characteristics, naturally, he's a very strong tackler. He's quite an aggressive midfielder, where if you look at someone like Michael Carrick, when he played in that role, he was more notorious for, wasn't really a tackler because he was intelligent enough to see the ball before it reached the player. So his interceptions were very good. His blocks were very good. Someone like Camavinga has got the energy and the press. He's more of an aggressive midfielder. Doesn't mean that you can't coach the other part of that game into him, though. But according to Fabrizio Romano, we're leading the race for him. And as I said before, I think this is quite a straightforward transfer. I think if it's all going to be down to the fee. If we can go in, how much do you think? Let me know in the comments, actually. So Camavinga is 18, clearly one of the most talented youngsters in world football, an excellent midfielder, a hell of a prospect. He's only got 1 year left on his contract. How much do you think is a fair price to pay Rennes for him? So when the stories originally broke from Mohamed Bahafsi, he was saying that this €100 million fee is that's not being used. That's nothing. Ignore that whatsoever. And I think actually the Rennes technical director said the same thing too. We've never used that number. But 30 million, is that fair? 30 million euros, is that a fair price for someone like Camavinga? Let me see what you're saying in the comments here. We've got Mohamed, you're saying 30 million. We've got Martin Baker, you're saying £25 million. Vidash, you're saying 30. Looking here, we've got Richard Carr watching from the west coast of USA. How you doing, Richard? Benz, you're saying 40 million. Tim Garrod on Facebook, you're saying 25, 20, 30, 40 max, 20, 30, 70. Someone coming strong on 70. And I think, obviously, they're going to push for something like 70. They're not going to get something like 70. But I think 30 to 40 million seems like a reasonable amount. Seems like a reasonable amount for me. And that's my own opinion. Maybe Ren would completely disagree on that. And maybe that's something that's going to drag on a little bit. But I don't think terms will be an issue because of the, as I said, Jadon Sancho joining Manchester United this summer is, we don't really need to sell the project to anybody. We've just got one of the most exciting young footballers in world football to join us. That is evidence enough for Camavinga that Manchester United is an exciting project. Comment here coming in from Glenn Clifford. Thank you very much, Glenn. Said, should we keep Pogba at any cost or let him move because of his greedy agent? And I tell you what, you have fired in that super chat at an excellent time because Paul Pogba is my next talking point. Fabrizio Romano on Twitch last night saying Paul Pogba's situation is not directly related to Eduardo Camavinga. But the point you're making there, talking about his greedy agent, this is where we go to this point. PSG are in discussions with Paul Pogba's entourage. Pogba seems more and more open to the idea of joining PSG. And that's coming from the man himself, Mohamed Bahafsi. Pogba. My. The amount of times we speak about him, the amount of times we speak about his agent, and the amount of times we get pissed off about speaking about Mino Raiola. You let me know what you think about this in the comments below. But thank you very much, Victor, for sending this in. You're saying, I hope United do everything they can to keep Paul Pogba. Because if he leaves, I think even if we get all three signings, it's a bad window to lose a player of his quality. Now, you let me know what you think about that in the comments below, because Pogba is certainly, it's a conversation that it splits opinion on United fans. And I'll be honest, at one point in time, I was lost on Paul Pogba. I felt I was done with Pogba. I thought, just leave the club, man. I can't be asked to deal with the circus that comes around you because your performances do not warrant. You just don't warrant it. And then he turned the screw. And then Pogba really started to show what Manchester United fans have all wanted to see from Paul Pogba. And then you see how amazing he is for France. And you're like, why would we not build a team around this guy? And it's such a tricky situation. And for me now, what I saw from Pogba last season, I saw a player who really genuinely wanted to play for Manchester United and actually properly play for Manchester United. He was fantastic for the majority of that probably maybe February onwards, roughly. Maybe a little bit earlier than that, actually. Pogba he had plenty of fantastic performances for United last year. And I saw a different side to it. Now, Mino Raiola, you can't ignore the fact that his agent is a greedy bastard. And PSG are probably the only team who are going to be able to afford Pogba this summer. But if you head over to, let me see if I can put it up here for you, because Red Billy has just done a piece on exactly this, because there's no greedier agent in football than Mino Raiola. We all know that, right? We've all seen it far too many times, and it's a bit painful to watch. But does it mean that he's actually going to PSG? Or is this just going to be another ploy from Mino Raiola to try and eke more money out of this whole situation? Because that absolutely could be the case. And that's exactly what Red Billy is saying over on thepeoplesperson.com, which I'm just loading up now. So 1 second for me to load. But look, in my own personal opinion, I don't think United should be selling Paul Pogba this summer. But we're in a tricky situation. In the same way that maybe Real Madrid don't want to sell Rafael Varane. He's only got 1 year left on his contract. And we've already lost Paul Pogba on a free transfer. And that was painful enough as it was, let alone letting this version of Paul Pogba go. Because when he left, he was a teenager. Well, I suppose similar to Camavinga in the situation of what it was. He had 1 year left on his deal, but he didn't stay. So if we go over here, and this is what Red Billy is saying, look, Paul Pogba to PSG, a rumour that reeks of Mino Raiola. Just going into it. Head over there. It's actually a very good article. You should go and read it. I encourage you to read it, in fact. In fact, so much so. Why don't we pop it in the comments on here? If anybody wants to read this, read it. I encourage you to do so. But is this just a ploy from Mino Raiola to try and get more money out of Manchester United? It probably is. But I think United will pay it. It's whether or not Paul Pogba will sign. And in that sense, if Paul Pogba has stayed as long as he has at Manchester United, for him to leave now wouldn't really make much sense, because finally the club is starting to move in the right direction together. The club is starting to make the right noises. We're signing the right players. We've just signed Sancho. We might be signing Rafael Varane. We might be signing one of the best youngsters in world football in Eduardo Camavinga. It's an exciting time right now, Manchester United. So if Pogba was ever going to leave, right now wouldn't be the best one. Let me head down to the comments here quickly. As always, if you're new in town, make sure you drop a like if you're watching on YouTube and subscribe if you're new. I'm here Monday to Friday, 9:30 a.m. And I'm also going to be doing live streams whenever big news breaks. It's interactive. You fire your comments and you let me know where you're watching it from, and you send in your super chats too. And I answer as many questions as I possibly can. If you're watching on Facebook, drop a like on it too. But let's see where you're all watching this from. Got Desmond. Oh, no. Desmond, good morning to you, Desmond. We've got Ia watching from Nigeria. Good morning to you. Let me see. We've got Arthur watching from Zambia. How are you doing, my friend? Too many. Oh, look. Nathan Pitt. Sorry, man. I missed that. Loving these daily updates. Keep up the good work, Sam. Thank you very much, Nathan. And I'm really loving all of your interaction. It's wicked. I'm enjoying it. You're enjoying it. All the comments are flying in. And we cover the news and we speak about it. And it's important always to not just look at the headlines, to try and look a little bit deeper. And that's why I showed you here, because the headline here, it's very exciting. Rafael Varane is very close to joining United, 12 million a year contract. But who is Jorge Calabres? As I said, he's a director of elbernabeu.com, this website here. What is that website? I'll be honest, I haven't really followed that much over the years when I'm looking at transfer news. But interestingly enough, with the 12 million, if you head back to thepeoplesperson.com, your favorite news website, obviously, they're saying that, no, not they're saying, we covered it back in June, that 12 million was going to be that offer. So this 12 million hasn't just been pulled out of nowhere. It's been there for some time. And that is why it's important always to try and find the story behind the headline. Let's head down to the comments here. Marcelino watching from South Africa. Good morning. Good afternoon. That's good morning there. Clive watching from Ireland. How you doing? And Bieber watching from Cameroon. Wicked. Not sure we have many from Cameroon. And Kit from Nepal. Good morning. Maybe the first from New Zealand. I'm not sure, but maybe. How you doing? We've got Ben watching from Ghana. Big up Ghana. Jerry watching from Kenya. Marshall watching from Qatar. All around the world, Reds joining in. Make sure you subscribe if you're new as well. Let's head back to the news. Where were we? We were talking about Pogba. This is an interesting one. There are chances for Ahmad to go on loan, and Pellistri to Alaves on loan is another possibility. Again, Facundo Pellistri, obviously we signed him. Where did we sign him from? Was it Penarol? I don't remember where we signed him from. Well, we remember that. It was in January. We needed players like, oh, Pellistri's going to come in. Be a first-team player? Nah. Off you go on loan. He was never a first-team player, so that was a bit of a lie. But Ahmad on loan. I think I've already said this yesterday, but I'll say it again. Would you like to see Amad go on loan, or do you think that Amad Diallo should be staying here at Manchester United next year? I made my opinion on it quite clear. I think Amad, and the more you think about it, it's a confusing one. But I don't know. In fact, I'm actually very split on it now that I think about it. Victor, and thank you very much for your super chat today, my friend. Big up. You will certainly be getting made a mod in the comments after this live stream because you have gone super today. Thank you very much, my friend. But Amad's a difficult one, I would say. Also, Victor, is watching from Melbourne, Australia. Big up Australia. But Amad, on the one hand, you can see that an 18-year-old needs to go out and play first-team football. So surely he just needs regular football. Otherwise, how is he going to develop? And on the other hand, surely you want him to stay and work with Jadon Sancho on the training ground and get minutes, because we're going to be playing in the Cups next year. It won't just be the same team every single week. And surely someone like Sancho is someone that Amad can really learn from. And I'm always fearful of loans, because on paper, if you're playing Football Manager or FIFA, you send a player on loan, they're going to play wicked. Nice. In reality, it's not always that simple, because a player can go out on loan, and United had plenty of these in the last few years, actually. Loans that were just shit. Loans where the player really didn't play that often, got sat on the bench. And why am I going to let that player sit on the bench at Burnley or Blackburn rather than be in and around Manchester United, learning from the manager, learning from the players around him in the environment you want him to succeed in? And that, for me, is why it's never a straightforward question to ask whether a player should go on loan or not. It's a bit more, it's not black and white. And that's what I think anyway. Let me see what you're thinking about this in the comments. Got Somto, you're saying Amad should go on loan. Thank you for watching on Facebook, my friend. We've got, and you're saying Pellistri needs to go out on loan for a few seasons. Amad will really benefit from 6 months in the Championship. Now, the Championship is a hell of a league. If you ever watch it every year, it's so fiercely competitive that something like that would certainly toughen Amad up, because he's a very petite person in physique. So he's going to have to learn that game. But as you can see here, I can see it in the comments as well, it's split. No one really knows whether to send him out on loan or keep him at the club. It's difficult. And I don't really know what the right answer is here. Super chat coming in from Sudeep saying, when will you come to India? I'm not sure. I think I want to go and visit Goa. I'm not really sure about the hustle and bustle of the cities of Delhi and India. I mean, I'm sure it'd be good to experience, but right now, personal space is key in the world because of the coronavirus. So probably not India anytime soon, but I'd love to visit. I love traveling. And at some point, I'll go traveling again. Maybe you can all come with me. But let's head back to the final couple of stories here. Speaking of someone going out on loan, Brandon Williams being linked with Southampton. Looks like it's going to be going ahead, coming from The Athletic, and The Athletic know what they're talking about. And I think that's a very good idea, because if you're looking at Brandon Williams, when he burst into the team, he looked exciting. He looked tenacious. He looked like the sort of player that was the same player that you saw with the youth teams. But since then, Brandon Williams, he's just gone off the radar. He hasn't progressed enough, so much so that, remember when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer played Timothy Fosu-Mensah for like the first time, he played a game in like 16 months instead of Brandon Williams. And it goes to show that he just fell down the pecking order. He doesn't have the trust of the manager. And I think a loan spell at someone like Southampton, I think they just lost Ryan Bertrand, who's gone to Leicester, I believe, on a free. There's a spot there for Brandon Williams to go and succeed. And Hassan Hoot will be a good manager, I think, for someone like Brandon Williams. I think that would be a very good loan deal for Brandon Williams. And I think it would suit Manchester United too. And he could very well come back a much stronger player. That's that one anyway. On the other hand, though, looking at a reverse, Danny Ings rejecting a 4-year contract. That's coming from The Athletic as well yesterday. 28-year-old. He's a decent striker. He wasn't very good at Liverpool, but then he went back to everybody. He was at Liverpool, wasn't he? I swear he's at Liverpool. Yeah, there's a Liverpool. Danny Ings, yes or no? Let me know what you think in the comments. Got 14 goals last year in the league for Southampton. If it wasn't for England's ridiculously stacked attack, he may well have been at the Euros. But there's so many good players in that attack that Ings got nowhere near it. But do you think that United should be going in for Ings? We've obviously got Cavani on a 1-year deal. We've got Greenwood there. We've technically still got Anthony Martial, but I don't really think what he's going to be doing. But let me see what you think in the comments below. And I'll be honest, apart from Chris Young, you like the bargain basement Ings. He's saying yes, but I'll be honest. Joe Taylor, how you doing, Joe? Thanks for joining in, my friend. No. No rate. No Ings. No. No. And we got a comment there which kind of sums it up. No. No, 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 no. I'll be honest. I agree with you. Danny Ings doesn't scream of a signing which takes us upwards. And that's what we need. I think we've got enough bodies up front at Manchester United. Obviously, bear in mind injuries could change that. And I hope it doesn't. But I don't think that signing Danny Ings is going to be taking Manchester United towards the level that we need to get to. And I think, judging by the comments, we're about 95% agreeing on that. But let me do a quick recap. Before I do, make sure you let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'll give a shout out towards the end. And if you're new, make sure you drop a like on the video and subscribe. As you can see, it's a massively interactive show. I'm going to be taking the quality up a little bit soon as well. I've got a new setup, not a new setup, but a new technical setup. I just need to get it sorted for Facebook. And once I've got that sorted, it's going to get even better. I mean, can it get better? I don't know, but maybe. Anyway, the main story from today is coming out of Spain, and it's, of course, about Rafael Varane. Here saying, you got Jorge Calabres saying that he's very close to joining United on a 5-year contract worth 12 million. That's fair enough, 12 million. I'm happy for United to pay that. It's not an outrageous wage that's going to break our structure or piss other people off. It's about 200 grand a week, and Varane would definitely be worth that. Real Madrid could accept 50 million plus add-ons. Again, that price, I'm fine with that price. But who is Jorge Calabres and is it reliable? He's a journalist here, works for elbernabao.com. And I'll be honest, having covered the Spanish transfer news for a long time, I don't really think I've ever seen elbernabao.com come up. So I don't really know whether or not he's reliable. But interestingly enough, as it was covered on the People's Person back in June, that was the exact same figure that was banded about a month ago. So it's not just a figure that's been pulled out of thin air. And that is very important. Super chat here coming in from Victorium, who's nailed it today. The king of the super chats. I hope Dalot stays. He should be our backup right back. I think that's I'll be fine with that as well. I think Dalot, he did well at AC Milan. He didn't do incredible, but he did well. Obviously, they were challenging for Inter throughout the season. They fell short. But I think Dalot's still got. I think Dalot's got a chance at United, and I would like to see him stay. I got EA asking how I joined the members club. It's a very good comment. EA, I'm setting that up at the moment, so all of you can join United People's TV as members. And I tell you what, there's something to celebrate today, ladies and gentlemen. We've got to pull this bad boy up. 1 second. Come on. When you do it live, it's always different when you do it live. But United People's TV on YouTube, we're just taking a step up there. Just a little level up we've had here. Wait for it. Ba, ba, ba. Verified, baby. Look at that tick. So United People's TV, thanks to you and thanks to everyone who's joining in. We are now verified on YouTube. That deserves a like on the video. That deserves a subscribe if you're new. That deserves a like on Facebook and a share if you're watching on Facebook, doesn't it? Big up. It's wicked. We're getting better. We're getting bigger. But the members club, I'll get that sorted very, very soon. But we're now verified here on YouTube. Hopefully we get verified on Twitter. And if you can get verified on Facebook, can you get verified? I'll try and get verified on Facebook too. But it's all because of the good work that you are all doing in joining me in these live streams, because they are great, great fun. Let me see where you're all watching this from. Beyond Cambodia. Phnom Penh, I've been there. I've been to the temples. Beautiful place, Cambodia. Beautiful temples. I enjoyed that as part of my trip. I'm pretty sure I got ill in Cambodia. Got Jack saying I want to be the first member from Borneo. I'm sure you can be, Jack. I'll set that up this week and I'll keep you all in the loop as to when that will happen. We've got Prince watching from... Where does it go there? Too many comments. Sorry, Prince. Brandon watching from Texas. How you doing? Nathan here with the final comment here saying maybe Sancho could be bait for Haaland next year. Hey, Sancho's got to get on that text, man. Erling, what you doing? Just sending pictures of Sancho and Solskjaer just jamming and chilling at United. That's what we really, really want to see, because we've got Sancho now, tick. We've got Solskjaer, tick. Those two together, they should be flirting with Haaland all season long. Big up to Dark Prince here with the final comment. I'm just worried a lot of these clubs are going to be looking at us to clear their debts whilst raising ours. Cam at 30 million seems fair when you consider resale value due to age, talent, and marketability. Let me read the first part. I'm just worried that a lot of these clubs are looking at us as an ATM to clear their debts whilst raising ours. No, I would disagree on that one. Dark Prince, big up for the comment there. I would say, look, United, we seem to be acting smart and correctly in this summer transfer window. We've got Sancho. We're going half of around. We've got Camavinga. We can see the deal. We can see the value there. And we can see a player that maybe could be better than any of us could imagine in that midfield role. And clearly, he's got a lot of talent. I think that it will be a very smart signing for him. And I think that United seem to be acting correctly this summer. John Murtough, I questioned him. It seems to be going in the right direction. I'm going to have to follow up on that. I'd love to speak to him. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to speak to John Murtough. But United have got things so wrong for so long that to see United acting properly in the transfer market, it's enjoyable to see. But I'm going to wrap this up for today. Thank you very much for joining in. I tell you what, it's one of my favorite shows today. So many wicked comments, so many super chats coming in. Thank you very much for that. And we're verified now, baby. So drop a like on the video. Subscribe if you're still here. Subscribe if you're new. I'll be back tomorrow at 9:30. And if anything big breaks today, you know where to go first, United People's TV. And if anybody wants to help me with the idea of how do we get a map, an interactive digital map that we can put pins on for where you're all watching it from, because it's all around the world, tweet me at @SamPeoples_. See if we can't figure something out that we can update every single day on the live stream. Thank you very much for joining in. Thank you very much for all your comments. I'll see you tomorrow. Unless something breaks today, then you'll see me later on. But until then,